This is postpartum.
This is postpartum life.
Hey guys, I am super excited to welcome you back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a special guest and we're going to be talking about postpartum. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Of course. So I'm just going to be asking some questions and we're going to talk about your journey to postpartum. And I figured everyone's experience is different, but sharing kind of your journey can help another mommy-to-be along the way. So what was your postpartum experience like, and like what were some of the feelings that you had the first few weeks after her birth?
I feel like I honestly had a really good delivery, which led to a good postpartum experience. So I didn't have any complications. I did have a small tear. And so I was honestly expecting it to be more painful than it was, but it wasn't that bad. The biggest thing I think that affected my postpartum was because I did have a vaginal birth and I didn't have a C-section, I was like, oh, like I can move around and I can do all these things and my body's fine. And then like the day we got home from the hospital, she had a doctor's appointment and I remember going to that appointment and I was like, I'm going to faint. Like I didn't like realize my body just went through this huge thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to slow down. Like even though I felt fine, I needed to take that second to step back because it all hit me at once.
Yeah.
And so, but other than that, like my recovery was pretty good. I didn't have any issues. And I think the biggest thing was that it was hard to understand what to expect as far as like the after effects. So like obviously I've never had a baby. I've never pushed a baby out before.
Yes.
So that pain, and it was just, I don't want to say it was pain, it was more just like a soreness.
Yeah.
And it really did last, honestly, like between 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, and a lot of moms think that, you know, postpartum is just that 6 weeks, and as soon as the doctor is like, you're good, and recovery can be much longer than that. And that's okay. It's okay to let your body recover. Postpartum can be up to a year. It can be a year that you're recovering. and like you said, like with your experience being good, it really does help the postpartum experience.
I had such a great one, but I know that not every experience is like that.
Yes. And definitely some experiences are not the way that we wish they were. And that's why we just have to make sure we stay in control and you ask questions and, you know, make informed decisions. That way you can have a good experience and possibly have a better postpartum experience. So that's really good.
I will say one of the things that I actually kind of learned from you was saying, you know, like a new mom pushes for like up to 2.5 hours. And so whenever I was pushing, you know, I'd only been pushing for 45 minutes and the doctor mentioned maybe doing a C-section and I was like, what? Like I was really confused. So thankfully we didn't have to go there, but I feel like for me, I don't know if I would have been comfortable standing up to my doctor being like, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think, you know, that someone like you, that's how you can help be an advocate because, you know, I'm obviously like, well, the doctor knows best.
Yeah.
But in that moment, like, you're just scared and you want everything to work out perfect. So thankfully it did, but.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad that you were able to advocate for yourself in that moment and make an informed decision because you knew that most moms push for 2.5 hours. So you knew that, you know, you were fine and that couldn't have been right. So what kind of support did you have during postpartum?
I was really lucky in that my husband was able to take time off of work through FMLA. And so this was not something I was familiar with and he looked into it himself. But spouses, so he was able to take 12 weeks off total, or he could have. So he took 10 weeks off for spousal support. And basically, whenever we submitted the claim, you know, we just put, you know, like postpartum support, you know, postpartum like emotional support, like that was a big thing.
Yes.
And so we submitted that, and then dads can also take extra time for what's called baby bonding within the first year of their life.
Oh, that is amazing.
So you can take 12 weeks off total, and you can split it up however you want. So technically, because my husband took 10 weeks off for spousal support, he could still take another 2 weeks off for baby bonding.
Aww.
It is not paid, so it might not be an option for every family,
Yeah.
but definitely I think that if it's something, you know, that you're planning for, you can save for it. And also something else to throw out there is short-term disability. And you have to sign up before you're pregnant.
Yes.
So it has to be in effect, like I think it depends which plan you use, but at least 9 months before the baby's born. Like you can't be pregnant and then sign up for it.
Yeah.
So that was also helpful because, you know, that gave us a little cushion for him to be off.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely him being off helped tremendously.
Yes.
Like I don't know how new moms do it without that kind of support.
Yeah.
I have told all of my friends, like, do this if you can.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. It's hard because, you know, your hormones and emotions are all over the place. And, you know, you need sleep and you need rest and the baby needs you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is nice to have just another set of hands that can be there.
Yes.
And also, you know, because of COVID, that kind of hindered, you know, some extended friends and family from being able to come over. And so that was really nice that he was able to be there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, obviously we have close family who's here that was able to come help out. But definitely having him home, I don't know how I would have done it without him being home.
Yes. And that's amazing to have the support of a partner or family and friends. And that's just really great that he got to take that, you know, 10 weeks off with you, because a lot of people don't realize some dads, you know, get less than Labor Day weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And so it can be really hard. And just to have extra support, if you have your partner for however long, if you can get extended family, and you can also hire a postpartum doula to help you during that time. So what are some things that surprised you that no one told you about?
Honestly, you know, you hear about like that love at first sight and the tears and whatever, and don't get me wrong, I loved her the second she came out.
Yeah.
But it was almost like it was so surreal.
Yeah.
And I talked to one of my other girlfriends that just had a baby a couple months ago, and she messaged me. She was at the hospital and she was like, I don't really feel like a mom yet.
Yeah.
And so it was like, you know, she was there and I was looking at her at the hospital, and like I obviously loved her right in that instant, but I was like, is she real? Like, is she mine?
Yeah.
Like, and it was just, you know, maybe it was because it is something that's so brand new. And I think it probably took, you know, like the next morning afterwards, and I was like, oh my gosh, like here she is. I love her so much. Like, I'm a mom now.
Yeah.
But it definitely like took a little bit, because it's just like the shock of it all, and like, wow, I have a human being now. Like, I'm in charge of this thing. So I think that was like a little kind of like surprising.
Yeah.
But it definitely made me feel good that like my other friend, like she was like, she had the same set of emotions.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you are so excited and then it happens and you're like,
whoa.
yeah, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I just, like, there's a video of me and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's here. I can't believe she's out. And then you're like, wow, like she's here. She's actually out.
Yeah.
So that was kind of something that was a little surprising. But also I think like I was surprised at how easy everything went.
Yeah.
And I feel bad saying that because I know not every woman has that experience.
Yeah.
I know
okay.
that I had a pretty easy labor, like a quick labor. And so that was kind of surprising because I was anticipating like, yeah, what do you think about that? Were you just ready to come out? Yeah. So that was surprising to me too. But it also gives me, you know, I feel like I don't want to have a false hope for like if we have another baby that it's going to be as smooth.
Yeah.
I think I'll definitely be hopeful that it is, but understanding that that's not always the case.
Yeah, and it's not. And I'm glad you had a really good experience and that you're able to talk about that good experience. And, you know, it could help someone know that it doesn't always go as we plan, but you can still, no matter how it goes, you can still have a good experience. Just, you know, making those decisions and all of that, and having that advocating for yourself and all that good stuff. So what is, you can say one or more than one postpartum essential that you would recommend every mommy to get?
I definitely think that every mom, regardless if you had a vaginal birth or a C-section, the Freedom Mom Peri bottle or just anything like that, to clean yourself after. So especially if you've had a vaginal birth and you had some tearing. So the hospital will give you, you know, a little bottle, and it's fine, it works fine. But the Freedom Mom Peri bottle has like a longer arm and it kind of angles up, so that way you can clean yourself. And so basically after you go to the bathroom, you know, they don't want you wiping, they don't want you to irritate anything. And so the Peri bottle, you just put warm water in it and it helps clean everything.
Yes.
And it actually feels really refreshing.
Absolutely.
After. And you're bleeding a lot and you just feel kind of gross. So that's why I'm saying, even if you don't have a vaginal birth, if you have a C-section, still for, you know, all of the bleeding you're going to have after, I still think it would be good to have, just to help make sure that you're feeling clean, because you know, you might not be able to shower every day. And especially, you know, when you have a newborn. And so it's just something to help make you feel refreshed and clean. And especially, you know, like I said, if you have stitches, if you got a tear, it just helps keep that area really clean.
And that was like a really amazing point that you made about the C-section, because a lot of women don't realize, even when you have a vaginal birth, they don't realize, but even when you have a cesarean, you still have lochia after your baby's born. So that's when you bleed for that, you know, weeks, or it can last however long. And that happens with a vaginal birth, even if you had a C-section. So that was a really good essential. Thank you.
Let me think. The other essential, definitely for nursing moms, would be some comfortable clothes that you can easily take off or, you know, kind of pull down, because, you know, I didn't stick with breastfeeding, but for the first 2 weeks that I did, you know, you just want to be comfortable. You do not want to have to, you know, take off your shirt all the way. So I lived in like some button-up nightgowns, some shirts that were easy to just pull off, the nursing shirts. So definitely I would recommend that to any mom. And also really good nipple cream, because it really does hurt. And they chafe and they hurt. And so that's something I really liked. I think it's the Massenol, lanolin.
I wouldn't know.
Lanolin cream. That was my favorite.
Okay. And do you, just to kind of talk about your breastfeeding journey a little bit, because that's different for everyone, and it's amazing that you were able to even, you know, breastfeed just for a week or a day, or, you know, just to give her a little bit. And, you know, just to kind of talk about that experience. I know that it can be a little painful at first, and sometimes when we have issues, it does make it more painful. So do you want to talk about breastfeeding in general?
I will say that I did talk to some of my friends before, and I asked them about their journeys. And so I had one friend who, unfortunately, like, she just couldn't get a good supply, and it really weighed on her mentally. Like, this is something that as women, we're supposed to be able to do. And so she just, you know, was really hard on herself, and mentally she was really down. And so, you know, what she told me, she was like, if you can do it, that's great. If not, you know,
don't worry
okay.
about it. Yeah.
And so I feel like I kind of went in with the mindset of, okay, I'm going to try it. We'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, then that's okay.
Yeah.
And so I did, you know, start out, and so she stopped latching, and I could have went to a lactation consultant. And so I was pumping, and and so something that, you know, that you don't realize is that, you know, they say a newborn eats every 2 hours, but it's not, you know, if she starts eating at 2, then she eats again at 4. It's if she starts eating at 2 and she eats until 2:45, she still eats again at 4.
Yeah, and it could be, don't listen to, it could, your baby could eat every 2 hours, or they could eat every 5 minutes.
Yeah, you don't know. So I found myself that I was constantly pumping, and I was just exhausted. And I was like, this is just not for me.
And that's okay. It's what's best for you and your family, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. So I'm honestly really proud of you for like making that decision for yourself and knowing that it's okay. So
I support moms who want to breastfeed, and I think it's wonderful. And if you have the patience, and if you have the time, the willingness to devote to it, but to me, it just wasn't worth me getting frustrated from having to pump all the time, having to pack all the supplies every time I went somewhere. And it was helpful because my spouse was able to help out with feedings.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like I said, it's whatever's best for you and your family. And if you do want to breastfeed, make sure you have good resources and support. And if it's not for you, if it's weighing you down, don't let it. Do what's best for you and your family and your health as well. So, good. Oh, she's so precious. So, for our last question today, I just wanted to ask, what is one thing you would want every mommy to know about postpartum?
I think the biggest thing for me, and it's something that I had to learn, was that it's okay to ask for help. So, they say it takes a village, and it really does take a village. So I am the type of person that, I always want to be in control of things. I always want my house to be clean. It stresses me out when the kitchen is not clean, and I've had to let those things go.
Yeah.
And so it was hard at the beginning. It was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was frustrating. It made me anxious. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to get this time back with her. And so that's something that, I've just told myself, when I come home and I cook dinner and she's fussy and I need to clean the dishes, I'm just like, I can take the extra 30 minutes to sit with her.
Yeah.
Because, the dishes will be in there in the morning, but my time with her, is short.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, she's not going to be able to sit in my lap forever.
Yeah.
And so that's something that, I needed to realize, is that it's okay. And also, reach out to people. Like, when people say they want to babysit your baby, they actually want to babysit your baby. So I have some older friends of mine who, their kids are grown now, and they live really close, and they were like, let us know, we would love to watch her. And so I texted one day, and I was like, hey, do you mind to watch the baby while I go to the grocery store? And she was like, oh my gosh, bring her over right now.
Yeah.
And like,
super excited and eager to help.
Yes. And so, like, honestly, people mean it. Like, they want to help. They want to watch your baby. And so that's just the best piece of advice I could give, is just to, like, know your resources, have your support team, and be willing to use them. It's good for you to get that time away. I found that, going back to work has helped my mental health, because, I have a different identity than just being a mom.
Yes.
I have my own identity, and I love being a mom, but I'm also a teacher, I'm also a wife, I'm also a friend, and it's important to make sure that your role as a mom doesn't, outshine everything else.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all of that wonderfulness about your postpartum journey. And everyone's journey is different, so just be sure to prepare, think about postpartum, and I really hope that, hearing a little bit about Leah's journey will help you guys. So thank you.
Bye.